if y'all would please give it up for John J. Myers.
You know, the interesting thing about going to libertarian events is the fact that when you get in there and you start talking to people, most of the people in the room can answer the question that they ask you better than you can answer the question yourself. And it makes coming to these events kind of fun, and at the same time it's kind of weird because I kind of give the stump speech that I give to everybody else. And for instance, 2 days ago I went to go to a Green Party event. And actually, that was yesterday. I went to a Green Party event. Now, you lose track of time on these things. So I went to a Green Party event, and I did that. I gave the exact same speech that I'm about to give to you, and that I've given to libertarians all across Texas. And do you know what the result was? The result was everyone there came up and shook my hand. There were people asking for yard signs, people asking for T-shirts, people doing the same. You know why? Because the politicians on the left and the right try to divide people. But when you talk about what's really wrong with America, you unite people. And that's what I'm going to tell you. So I'm going to basically give you guys the stump speech. And it's the stump speech that I want you to realize that I'm going to be giving to a lot of people across Texas, not just libertarians. And I hope you like it. One of the things I like to talk about is a story I tell called Stop Stealing My Stuff. And it's very simple. And it's what's wrong with America. You wake up in the middle of the night because you hear a crashing sound downstairs. You go downstairs and you see a guy standing there with your television set. So obviously you're upset. And so the first thing that you're going to say to that guy who's holding your TV is, "What religion are you?" Wait a minute. The first thing that you're going to say to that guy is, "What's your stance on gay rights?" No. The first thing that you're going to say to that guy is, "Stop stealing my stuff." And that's where we are today. We've got the government splitting everybody in groups, as I said, and all they're doing is they're putting one side on one set of you on one side, one set of you on the other side, and then they're just stuffing bags full of money and handing it to their friends while you guys sit there and fight. And that's what we've done in America. Now, the reason I'm running, I'll tell you what. In 2007, I was running my own business. I had my own life. And I loved Ron Paul, libertarianism, but I was the guy on the couch. You know, at night I watched CNN. I was addicted to CNN and the news networks. But I never did anything. And then one day, I saw Ron Paul up on stage, and he was debating. There was 8 of them up there, and one of them was Rudy Giuliani. And Rudy Giuliani said, "Terrorists hate us for our freedom." And I noticed all 8 of them believed this, except for Ron Paul. And then Ron Paul, being timid, a lot more timid than I am, said, "Well, you know, it's wrong. You know, they do not hate us for our freedom." And everybody seemed like he was crazy. And that's when I said, I have to do something. Because that's not crazy, that's common sense. I mean, if you believe that terrorists hate us because we're free, you should not be allowed to serve in public office. You should maybe serve in a mental institution. You may have to wear a rubber mat on your head to keep you from doing harm to yourself or others. That's what happens if you believe that terrorists hate us because we're free. Terrorists do not hate us because we're free. Terrorists hate us because we're in their countries, installing puppet dictators, stealing their resources, and forcing democracy through the barrel of a gun. That is why terrorists hate us. We spend $1.1 trillion being the world's police, and our army is the equivalent of the next 16 armies put together. Who are we geared up to fight? Space aliens? What would be the point? What are you going to do with a $2 billion battleship to stop a guy from putting a bomb in his underwear? How is that going to work? Shouldn't you just think, why is that guy putting a bomb in his underwear? That would be the key. And when you have an entire political class that does not understand what is going around the world and why these people feel the way they do about it, you're never going to solve that problem. Another thing I'd like to talk about is corporatism in America. And you all know what that is. You know, you don't have to explain that to libertarians. Because libertarians, unfortunately, have to explain to people that what we have in America right now is not capitalism. What we have in America right now is not a free market. We don't have these things, but everybody believes And then people from the left will pin the problems that we have on the free market. And the Republicans are just idiots that pretend that they're going to do something, but they never do. When they have the opportunity to do something, they don't do it. Now, in the latest Republican primary, normally in Texas, now I realize there's a slight chance that I might not win, but they had the Republican primary, and the battle was between David Dewhurst and Ted Cruz. David Dewhurst, an oil and gas guy who used to work for the CIA, and Ted Cruz, whose wife is in the CFR. She's a vice president of Goldman Sachs, and he worked for Bush's domestic policy, and he was the political outsider. So the political outsider, upstart Tea Party guy, gets the full momentum of the Tea Party behind him, when in fact this guy is as political insider as you get. So in this battle royale, it was the banks versus the oil companies, and the banks won. But if I had told you that those were the two characters in this play, like I was going to write a story about politics, and I was going to say one's a CIA oil and gas guy, and the other guy is Goldman Sachs, you'd go, oh man, you can't use that. That's too cliche. You can't use those characters in your novel? That is too cliche. So, anyway, oh boy, I hate not having my notes. But the other thing, one of the main reasons that I am running, now Ted Cruz ended up winning, and we've got to do something about it. We've got word to spread that we've got a message that would appeal to the Tea Party. Because how did the Tea Party start? How did the Tea Party get its start? Really? Well, yeah. But it was what fired up that entire thing. It was the bailouts. It was the bailouts, right? Everybody was mad about the bank bailouts. And then how did Occupy get it started? The banks. So both of these things that we talked about on the left and the right were both mad about what? The banks. And now we've got people like Paul Ryan, Eric Cantor, John Boehner, Pete Sessions, Mitch McConnell. These guys are the heroes of the Tea Party. The heroes. These guys all voted for the bailouts. What world do we live in where these guys who all vote for the bailouts, the stimulus, TARP, the Patriot Act, the NDAA, these are the heroes of the Tea Party? How is that possible? But the Tea Party doesn't even seem to know that. So is it the news channels that bring... Okay, don't answer that question. Obviously, it is the news channels. We have to be our own news channel. We have to get our own information out there. We have to share the information about our candidates and Gary Johnson so people know that there is a different choice. One of the main reasons that I'm running for office, besides the other two main reasons that I'm running for office, is that I'm a libertarian. I believe that you should be able to live your life as you see fit. You should be able to eat, drink, or smoke whatever it is that you want. You should be able to marry whoever you want. It's not my business to tell you what to do. It's not government's business to tell you what to do. And those are the kind of things that I'd be fighting for. I have a little story that I like to tell. I was sitting outside of my bar, and I was having the argument that you guys have had with someone about marijuana before. And we kept going around, and I said, well, do you realize with the legalization of hemp, Popular Mechanics called it the $80 billion cash crop. Yeah, that was 1937. You can make oil and fabrics, you can make clothes, you can make plastics, you can just grow it. You'd have to smoke a house of it to get high, but somehow we made it illegal. And I tell the guy this, and he says, it doesn't matter. Marijuana makes you hungry, stupid, and lazy. All right? Well, do you realize that it costs $40,000 a year to lock someone up for smoking pot, and then we have to pay this, and you have to pay this, and you care so much. I mean, hand me your wallet. Because you care so much about this guy, you want to keep him in jail so he doesn't smoke pot on his couch. Is that how it doesn't matter, because marijuana makes you hungry, stupid, and lazy. And we went back and forth. Okay, I've had it. So you're telling me that we have had a 40-year war against hungry, stupid, lazy people, and we can't win it. I think it's time. fight anyone you want. Space aliens, Romans, countrymen, whoever you want to fight. I would be like, hungry, stupid, lazy. That is my choice. That is who I'd like to fight. So, when we were in Austin, we met a girl at Brave New Books, and I was talking to her, and she was a big Ted Cruz fan. She'd never heard of me in her life. And she was down there, and she said, first thing she said to me was, well, do you think you can win? And I said, well, let me talk to you. So I pretty much had a little bit of the same conversation that we just had. I'm not sure this is a conversation. I spewed words at you in the same way that I'm doing now. But we had told her a little bit about myself the same way that I've talked to you guys. And what she said at the end was, you're awesome. I can't believe it. I can't believe I was ever in Ted Cruz's camp. I can't believe I even thought about it. I didn't even know you exist. Give me a bumper sticker. Give me a sign. I'll put it in my yard. We'll do whatever we can for you. And I was like, great, fantastic. Oh, by the way, you know that question? The question you asked? Can I win? I just did. Because every time that we spread a message, that's the message that I'm talking to you guys about, every time that we win one more person over, we win. We all win. Libertarian Party wins. Every time Gary Johnson gets someone to go, I get it. So whenever we donate to Gary Johnson, whenever you donate to the Libertarian Party, whenever you donate to me, you're putting people out there that people might say, I get it. I see what's wrong. And then we win. Maybe that's a little win. But with a collection of little wins and people whose minds have been won over to the idea that the two-party system is completely broken, then we will actually start winning elections. People like Sterling Russell, who is awesome, by the way. People like Sterling Russell could possibly get elected. With enough support from you guys, Sterling Russell can get elected. Because the state rep race, make sure I got it right. Yes, I knew I had that. With the state rep race, it's a winnable race. With enough people door knocking, it's a winnable race. You can do something. Sometimes there's a slight chance, everybody, that I might not win. Slight chance. But along the way, I win every day. And along the way, it's winning for us. Last thing that I want to leave you with, because they won't let me introduce Gary Johnson anymore. Because every time that I try to introduce Gary Johnson, I get so excited. Because I've seen his resume, I know what he's all about, and I exaggerate. He has not laid the hammer down more times than this. He did not climb Mount Everest with no legs. So they stopped allowing me to introduce him, but I want to leave you with this. There are people out there that say that libertarians are extreme. Okay? I am not extreme. It's not extreme to believe that spending $1.1 trillion a year to be the policeman of the world. It's not extreme to think that our president shouldn't be allowed to kill people without a trial. It's not extreme to think that we shouldn't have bailed the banks out to the tune of $26 trillion as reported by the Wall Street Journal, but no one seems to know. It's not extreme to think any of these things. I am not extreme. Our government is extreme.